Okay, and welcome back. So in this example, we're going to solve this quadratic equation using completing the square. But in this equation, we have a 3 on the x squared term. So it's going to require us to factor that out. So since we know what most of the steps are, we're just going to go ahead and jump into this. So the first thing we're going to do is do the same thing where we move the constant over to the other side. So in this case, I have a negative 15, and when I move it over, it will be a positive 15. And then I just copy everything else down. So 3x squared minus 12x. Now, what I'm going to do is add my plus blanks right here. Now, the next step is to factor out a 3 out of the terms on the left side. So in this case here, I can write 3 on the outside, and I have x squared minus 4x. And for the plus blanks, I'm just going to go ahead and copy those down again. And make sure that you close the parentheses. And on the right side, this is what we're going to do. We're going to write plus 3 times something. Okay? In the step where we take half of the coefficient of the middle term, what we're going to do is do the same steps. We're going to divide it by 2, then square it, and if we can, simplify it. In my case, mine is going to be a negative 2 quantity squared, which is equal to 4. Now, instead of writing the 4 in both blanks, I'm going to write the 4 in this blank. But in this blank on the left side, I'm going to write it as negative 2 quantity squared. Now, you already know why I do that, right? It's just to eliminate any kind of confusion as to what to write down in the next step. However, pay close attention to this 3 on the right side over here. Now, the reason why we wrote that 3 down, I think now you can see why. It should be kind of obvious. If you look at the left side, there's a 3 on the outside of this large set of parentheses. When you added the 4 on this side, if you were to distribute the 3 to each one of these terms, you would end up with 3 times this 4. If that's the case, by adding this 4 on the left side, you'd be multiplying it times the 3, which means that on the right side, you would be adding a 4, and you'd have to multiply that by 3. So now you can see why you have to add the 3 on the right side. I hope that's clear. This 3, it should make sense. Now, for the next step, we're going to copy down the 3 and set up our parentheses. And we're going to do the same thing we did last time. We're going to take the x. We're going to take what's inside of the set of parentheses. In this case, I have a negative 2. We're going to write that down inside of here. On the right side, we're going to add the 15 and the 12, because 3 times 4 is 12. And that's going to give us 27. Now, in this equation, it's going to work out nicely. In fact, our answer is going to be just the same as the last problem we did. We could just go ahead and divide by 3 on both sides. And 3's will cancel out on the left. And on the right side, it'll cancel out to be 9. On the left side, we're going to get x minus 2, quantity squared, is equal to 9. Then we take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to write the x minus 2 quantity squared again. And like I did last time, I'm going to leave a little bit of space here. So that way I can put the square root. And don't forget, this has to be plus minus, okay? So now what we're going to do, we're almost done. You're just going to write down the x minus 2 and drop the parentheses. And simplify the square root if you can. In my case, this will turn into a 3. So I'll have plus or minus 3. And since I'm running out of space here, I'm going to continue the problem on the right side. I'm going to copy down this line right here. Okay. And now I have a negative 2. When I move it to the other side, so this negative 2 here, when I move it to this side, it will be positive. And now we're almost done. We have two solutions. So we have x is equal to 2 plus 3, which is equal to 5, or x is equal to 2 minus 3, which is equal to negative 1. So therefore our answers are going to be x is equal to 5, or x is equal to negative 1. And that's it. So the only thing you need to worry about is this step over here, where you have to factor out a 3 on the left side, and on the right side you write it 3 times whatever quantity you're going to place inside of here. The last thing I would mention, which is nothing more than a reminder, would be this. If you had a negative sign in front of the 3, or whatever number you have that's in front of the x squared term, so if you had something like negative 2, just divide out every single term on both sides of the equation by negative 1. Or you can multiply the entire left side of the equation by negative 1, like this, as well as the right side. Okay? Well, that completes this problem. If this is all you needed, well, in that case, we're done. But if you want to stick around and see another problem, the next one's going to be a little more difficult. In the next problem, we're going to look at a situation where the middle term is an odd number, in which case we're going to end up with fractions. But no need to worry. I'll make sure you guys can get through that. So if you made it this far in the tutorial series, I know this is really difficult to do. It's a very tedious procedure, but trust me, you've got this. You could totally do this. It's just a matter of memorizing one good way that you can use over and over again. Okay? Alright guys, so I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Otherwise, good luck with your homework and tests in the future, and thank you for watching.